Hey, what's up, people? Today, we'll talk about people I bumped into while I was writing graffiti on the subways, you know, in the layups, yards in some situations, tunnels, elevated platform. I'll tell you, I bumped into Cost and Relic. I think that's how I actually met them originally. The first time I ever met Cost, K-R-T, and Relic. Bumped into them. I used to bump into them a few places, and even after I've already met them. So, hey, what's up, dude? Who else? Paulistic, Studios for A. Paul, P-A-U-L. I used to bump into that fucking dude everywhere, man. He had like a limp. I wonder if he's still out there, man. Anyone know about Paul, man? Let me know. Paulistic at the Mini. He always catch the ceilings and shit. I used to bump into that fucking dude like Kingston, Utica, fucking so many different layups I can't even think of. Hell, I even bumped into him in Astoria layups, doing insides once. That fucking dude, he was doing a lot, man. Always by himself too. He walked with a limp and shit like that. Very cool dude. You know, I would just say, hey, there you go. You know, what's up? And I just keep going about my business. Sand and Dire. Dire passed away. Yeah, he was a good guy, man. I like those guys. I used to hang out with them a lot. You know. Bump into him in the meadow, and well, Dire more so than Sand, but Sand, yeah, I just met Sand up recently, maybe a year ago. I bumped into him in Old Timers Day up in the Bronx. Tats, no, Tough City, not Tats. But yeah, it's like I swear, in 1 week, I bumped into them like 3 or 4 times. It was like I bumped into them hitting the sixes, and like I said, no one hits the fucking sixes. And you know, I was like. You know, I'm quick. Like I said, I've been hitting that shit for a hot minute. I know when shit ain't right, you know. And it was like train came on one side. It was the uptown. So I got to jump on the seat. Otherwise, the cops, they look out the window, and with the light from the train, they'll actually see you. So if a train comes, like say this is the train's coming by, you jump on this side of the seats of the inside. So this way they can't see you. If you jump on this side, they'll be looking right at you. The train from the light literally lights up the train that you're writing graffiti on that's parked. So I jumped right into one of them seats. You know, as I was getting up, my hand smeared, like, got all my fucking elbow and everything, man. Fucking ink. Sand and Dire. I was like right there, like I'm like, damn, these dudes a couple of cars ahead of me, you know. So I already had those cars. I caught them a couple of tags real quick, you know, caught up to them. Hey, what's up there? You know, how you doing? You know, yeah, not much. How's it going there, Rob? You know, like a day of work and shit. Yeah, all right, peace. I hopped out. It was actually the last car of that set, and then another set continues. So I actually went back around, got down in that car, and got into the next car before they did, and I just kept going. And I didn't bump into them again. And like a day or two later, I'm hitting Astoria layup. Again, by myself and shit. Bigger and shit. Sand and Dire. Yeah, I bump into them. Like they're going towards Brooklyn, and I'm like going towards the Bronx. Because it's in Astoria, if you kind of understand what I mean. Like they're going uptown, I'm walking downtown. So it's kind of like they're... And once again, you know, I know things. You know, I feel things. I look... See doors, and then all of a sudden that door is like halfway open or halfway closed or something, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. You know, so I knew there was other people in there at that point, but I knew it was like writers and shit. You know, I could actually smell a little of the ink and stuff. I looked down, I could actually see them, a few cars ahead, and I said, oh, they're coming my way, and I'm going their way. So, again, I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? Yeah, this, that, blah, blah, yeah, peace. I keep going my way, they keep going their way. Then again, like the next night, the night after, you know, like I just said, the Bronx was the night before, hitting the sixes, which no one ever hits but me, and then I just bumped into them. Then the R's or the N's, or double R's it was called back then in the story, but it switched to the N's. I bumped into them there in the daytime, like the next day or something. Then I'm in Tishman, under Central Park. Like the next day after that, Who do I see? Sand the fucking Dire again. Yeah, and they were out there a lot, man. That's how it was with Paulistic. But with Paul, I would bump into him every couple of months, maybe a whole year go by. And, hey, there he is. You know, there's a few dudes who are just always creeping, man. Always creeping. I gotta say, Paul, I wonder if he's even still alive. He wasn't too healthy looking, you know, no disrespect to the guy, you know, but he was always nice and cool dude, you know. Yeah, I wonder, he had like a limp, like something might have been wrong with him, like medical type condition or something back then, yeah. I was going back, in the 80s. Who else did I bump into? Let It Bleed, L-E-T. Used to bump into him a lot too. Normally on the D's. He was always in that damn D yard. Like he fucking lived there or something. Let me see, who else did I bump into? Cento, I used to bump into him. But not like a real lot, like to mention it in this podcast where it's a lot, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of different people I used to bump into on occasion. Nick, Wildstyle. Well, these are just people I bumped into once. It's not really a lot. I bumped into so many different fucking people, man. I went to a lot of different layups, man. Maybe I'll get into that one day, you know. You know, there was actually another good one. I could squeeze this in real quick because it's a small layup on the 6s. But right here, between 59th Street and 68th Street, Lexington Avenue, there's one little track with a plunger. It's Bloomingdale's, Hunter College is the next stop up. Bloomingdale's, 59th Street, Hunter College, 68th Street. You ever look down, if you're on 59th Street, you look uptown, you'll see a third track there. You're like, what the fuck's that third track? What they would do is, they used to pull a set in there. And a lot of times they would pull an express in there. And even though it's a local, it's the 6, and the 4 and the 5 runs down below. But a lot of times they pull a 4 and a 5. You never knew what you were going to get in there. You know, but I'd go in there, and about midnight, the guy would pull it in. He'd walk out, he'd get out at 59th Street, him and the motorman in the middle there. You have the guy that drives it, and then you have the conductor and the guy in the middle. Make sure he closed the doors and shit. They'd get out and they'd walk. They'd go right upstairs and actually eat some food and shit like that. I used to watch them do this. I'd actually be washing my hands in the same fucking place that they'd go fucking eat, and they'd still be sitting there and shit. Sometimes I'm serious. I'd be like filthy fucking dirty from climbing around and shit like that. I'd be in there, I'd be like, oh shit, there's some guys, you know. But yeah, 59. I'll tell you, here's another funny one. Lace. They pulled the, like, you ever see that movie, The Money Train? It's with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. Well, that's actually where they used to put the money train. Later on, now there's no money train. Everything's like electronic and shit. But yeah, they would actually park the money train in there. And Lace, L-A-C-E, Lace, he actually did a fucking blockbuster under the windows of the money train, man. While it was, like, they just park it in there, and they're in there. Like, the cops are in there, the motorman's in there, everyone's in there. It's fully active. They don't turn it off. You know, they got a bunch of, and he did a fucking nice. It was a real quick silver and black blockbuster, but it was from end to end. Of course, you didn't go over the windows, you get locked the fuck up. They'd beat your ass, they'd catch you doing it. No, it's fucking money in there, you know. That's like a burglary, like an armed robbery. It would be on the news, definitely. Back then, very few things would hit the news, but yeah, I remember that. I remember we did a lot of this shit in that place, me and Lace. It'd be one set, 10 cars. So I'd run through them, I'd do tags on them, like I said, my little sardine can thing, you know. I'd go through it, boom, boom, bash, catch a bunch of that. But there was a better place to do like blockbusters or under the windows. You really didn't have much time. You had about 2 hours, an hour and a half, 2 hours. You could do a quick blockbuster. Well, nowadays, with all that fancy spray paint, forget about it. Back then, yeah, you could pull off a quick blockbuster with little shine lines on it and shit, maybe a little fluffy background or something like that. You could get down in that place. If I was into fill-ins, I could have really just boop, 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 all 10, go to the other side, boop, 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 and get the other side. You know, it was a good spot for 10 set, you know, just 10 cars. Real little guy, yeah, that was a good spot, man. We used to go in there and catch it. We'd actually watch, we'd already be in the tunnel, the emergency hatch. We'd actually pull the thing in, and then we'd actually get close to it. We'd hear them walking through it, talking to each other and shit. And they'd put the lights out, they'd go out the front door, lock it behind them, get on the catwalk, and walk right to 59th Street. It was like clockwork. We used to like to go there on Wednesday, because for some reason Wednesday would actually stay for like 2 or 3 hours. And yeah, they used to park like, you know what else winded up in there a lot? Towards the late 80s, hell, even into the 90s, is those garbage truck trains. Trains that would put all them little dumpsters on it when they go through the subway stations. They collect all these dumpsters. You know, they have garbage in them and shit, and they pull them out like a garbage train. It's literally like 10 cars of like flatbeds that they wheel these dumpsters onto that are sitting in these like receptacles, and they pull them out and they wheel them right onto this car. And we used to get those things too. I don't know. I it's kind of like, I ain't fucking with that shit. You know, I realized it probably would have been smart to write on all the dumpsters. You know, and then they would circulate them and all this stuff. But I was like, yeah, it's a bit much for me, man. You know, like why? I could just go this way or that way and get like real trains. You know, why fuck with those little things, man? But yeah, getting back to Paulistic, man. He was a good guy, man. I bumped into that motherfucker all over the place. And it's funny, it's like working. You know, you buy, hey, how's it going? Oh, yeah, yo, you saw this, yo, when you hear from this guy, yeah, this, that, peace. And you just keep going about your business and shit. Same with sand and dire, with sand, I remember, it's like, yeah, how you doing there? You know, not much, this, that, blah, blah, you know. You know, like, yeah, peace, goodbye. Yeah, it was funny. I like that shit. I know Sam, like I said, I just bumped into him again, like maybe a year ago or something like that. Yeah, maybe he'll see this and he'll comment, man. Funny shit, man. Goodbye, people.